All right, let's talk about a group some people call a mafia. But they're not from Sicily. They're from Silicon Valley. And they didn't just build a company. They pretty much built the modern internet that you and I use every single day.
But let me just start with this question. What if I told you that YouTube, Tesla, and LinkedIn all came out of the exact same, completely chaotic office? I know it sounds totally impossible, right? Like some kind of historical accident that could never happen. Well, it's true. And the story gets even crazier, involving a corporate coup where the CEO got fired while he was on his honeymoon. Nope, this isn't a movie script. This is the real, messy origin story of the internet's most powerful network.
So who are these people? Well, they're known as the PayPal Mafia. And no, it's not because of any actual crime. It's because of their intense loyalty to each other, the shared battles they fought, and, the ridiculous number of legendary tech companies they went on to create and control.
But to really get how this mafia was even formed, we have to go way back. See, it all started not with one company, but with two fierce rivals who are basically forced to merge just to survive the whole dot-com bubble mess.
On one side, you had Elon Musk's company, X.com. His vision was huge, a single website for every financial need you could possibly have. It was so ambitious that insiders actually made fun of it, calling it the corn site. And on the other side, you had Confinity, started by Peter Thiel and Max Levchin. They were the total opposite, laser-focused on doing just one thing really, really well, a simple digital wallet they called PayPal. So you had this massive, chaotic vision versus a super-focused product all jammed together under one roof.
And yeah, when these two rivals merged, they didn't just hold hands and sing Kumbaya. The result was this incredibly intense, high-stress culture. One employee actually described it as being full of intellectual knife fights. I mean, arguments were constant, the stakes were sky-high, and only the absolute smartest, most bulletproof idea survived. It was a total pressure cooker, and it forged these incredibly strong and, pretty combative bonds that would last for decades.
But all that constant conflict, it was bound to boil over. The tension between the two founding teams, especially between Elon Musk and Peter Thiel, finally hit a breaking point, and it led to one of the most unbelievable power grabs in Silicon Valley history.
So here's how it went down. Musk, who is the CEO at the time, gets on a plane for a much-needed vacation, which was also his honeymoon. While he's literally in the air, the board, led by his rivals, gets together and plots against him. They hold a vote, and just like that, he's out. Musk famously finds out he's been fired mid-flight right after you ordered a celebratory mimosa. You can't make this stuff up.
And this is a perfect example of what a corporate coup really is. We're not talking about a simple disagreement here. It is a sudden, decisive, and absolutely ruthless grab for power. What happened at PayPal wasn't just business as usual. It was a full-on overthrow.
Okay, so after the coup, Peter Thiel takes over as CEO. The company, now just called PayPal, absolutely explodes. And pretty soon, a much bigger fish comes swimming, eBay. And this deal would change everything for everyone involved.
And here's the number that basically created the mafia. In 2002, eBay buys PayPal for a jaw-dropping $1.5 billion. This one single transaction basically created a whole new generation of young, ambitious, and now incredibly rich tech veterans.
But this wasn't the end of their story. Not even close. This was the launchpad. The money from eBay gave them total freedom. But, having to work inside a giant corporation like eBay also gave them the push they needed to leave. They were now totally free to take everything they learned from all those intellectual knife fights and go build their own empires.
And what they built next, well, that's the most important part of this whole story. The members of this PayPal alumni network, they didn't just buy islands and retire. No, they spread out all over Silicon Valley, armed with a ton of cash and a shared, battle-tested way of doing things. And they started to fund and found the companies that would define the next 20 years.
And what a legacy it is. So the CEO who got fired mid-flight, Elon Musk, he goes on to found SpaceX and Tesla. His rival, who led the coup, Peter Thiel, he co-founds the super-secretive data firm Palantir. What about those three early employees, Chad Hurley, Steve Chen, and Jawed Karim? Oh, they just created YouTube. Reid Hoffman, he founded LinkedIn. I mean, this isn't just a list of successful companies, it is literally the blueprint of the modern internet. Which brings us to a final thought.
When you think about that perfect storm of events, the intense rivalry, a forced merger, that dramatic coup, and a massive payday, all happening at this one unique moment in time, it really makes you wonder, was creating the PayPal Mafia just a complete one-off, a fluke of history, or could a group this powerful ever happen again?